Hey everyone who's watching, and welcome to my quite short guide about how to deal with Hydras. What are Hydras, and what is this game if you haven't seen it before? Well, this is Guild Wars 2, one of my, well, basically it's one of my favorite games I'm playing so far, quite a lot. And this is, by the way, if you if you don't already know about my channel. If you do already know about my channel, I'll put a little time code where you can skip to where I get right to the point. So if you didn't know, this is an MMO called Guild Wars 2, one of my favorite games I've been playing a lot lately. In fact, I've actually been playing for years so far. And this guide in particular is going to teach you how to deal with Hydras. Why? Because they are one of my most hated enemies in the game, and they are also really, really annoying to deal with. I think they may have been nerfed at one point, but I'm not entirely sure. And, well, this is going to show you how to beat them. And one of the main reasons why you'd want to know how to beat one is because there is a champion Hydra that spawns somewhere over roughly here, or somewhere around here. It spawns way off on this side of the map in the Elonian Riverlands. It's a champion Hydra that's also a bounty target, as a matter of fact, so you may want to be going after that at some point because you may be doing a bounty and stuff. Anyway, enough blabbering, I'll get right to it. So the reason why I'm right here, right above this Temple of Cormi, is because I know there's a Hydra right here, like guaranteed without fail. In fact, there is two of them. So one of the first things you need to remember about a Hydra, and one of the reasons why I hate them so much and they're so annoying, is because if we click on one, as you can see, it has this thing here, which means that it has no break bar. If you don't know what a break bar is, I'll explain it really quickly. It's pretty much a blue bar below the health bar, and any ability that would do crowd control, kind of with anything that does crowd control to enemies, will get rid of the break bar. What is crowd control? Well, that is stuns, pulls, knockbacks, any sort of things like that. For example, my elite ability here freezes all enemies around me, meaning that, well, they're frozen in place, so that is a CC ability, a crowd control ability, and then afterwards it applies a chilled effect to them, which also reduces movement speed, so that's another crowd control ability. It's a crowd control ability on top of a crowd control ability. It's one of my favorite elite skills. That's why I love using it so much. Hydras, however, will have this bar here entirely, it has this like little gray chain effect over it the entire time. That one over there is moonwalking. I have no idea why, really sliding across the ground. And that means that you will not be able to get rid of the break bar. There is a way to get rid of the break bar, though, and that is just doing enough damage to it, at which point you cut a head off, and then it will kind of limp down on the floor for a little while, and it have to right itself and get back up. But that also means that you are only able to stun this thing twice before it is dead, and you are not able to stun it any more times after the head's already cut off. Which means it's actually a really bad idea to disengage one and stop fighting it, because its health will go back up to full, but both heads will still be chopped off, meaning that you can't stun anymore. Right, now that I've explained all that, let's actually get to fighting the Hydra. So, one of the first things you want to be thinking...
I see it.
Yes, they also are able to do that. They're also able to just really, really sneak up on you really well. I forgot there's actually a Hydra that patrols this place. So as you can see, this annoying little shit here actually already has one of his heads cut off because he was probably fighting the Temple Masons or another player perhaps or something like that that's there. This Hydra also can be kind of useful for completing the heart here, because you can let him patrol around in his little stupid circle and kill the Temple Masons, at which point you revive them all and get progress for the heart, and you can just let him continuously kill the Temple Masons. He also respawns quite quickly, so that's why I'm kind of running around in a circle here to try and avoid him, because I wanted to talk about which mount you might want to use to engage the Hydra. So if you don't have any mounts, I'll put a time code again so you can skip this section. But let's go over quickly the mounts I have here, and what they do and how they're useful for beating the Hydra. Since the Hydra has no break bar, I actually wouldn't recommend the Raptor or Springer at all, because the Springer does this kind of ground pound ability where it hits the floor, and it's great for getting rid of break bars, but it doesn't do that much damage. The Raptor does a kind of okay amount of damage, so you might want to use that. The Skimmer, definitely don't use that, because it heals stuff around you, and if you're trying to fight the Hydra solo like this guide covers, it won't do much. The Roller Beetle knocks enemies down really well, but doesn't do too much damage, so don't use it against the Hydra. The Warclaw doesn't do much damage either, that's mainly for world versus world targets. So that's why the mount I usually pick for fighting Hydras is the Jackal, because I'll just show you quickly here, away from the Hydra. once you use its mount engage ability, it gives you a bunch of barrier, which is extra health. That's that yellow stuff here. And that's really useful when fighting Hydras because, well, barrier makes sure that you have some extra health, and the Hydra does a heap of damage, which you want to mainly avoid. Right, so welcome back if you skipped using the time code. Okay, I wasn't sure where the Hydra went, but it went over here. So, when fighting Hydras, there's some main things you want to be concerned about and avoid. One of the attacks it can do is a charge attack like that, like so. It's best off just to dodge immediately when that happens and avoid it. The next attack it can do is firing meteors from the air, followed by that really annoying flame attack right there where it shoots flame at you. And this is actually even more annoying than usual because the sand shark here has decided to just join into the fight when I'd never really asked it to. This is what can get really annoying about Hydras. Other enemies can just gang up on you. So what I'm trying to do here is use my Reaper Shroud ability to put the sand shark on in an ice, well, just freeze it on the spot so I can kill it better, because right now I'm just trying to get rid of the sand shark and kill it because it's not a veteran enemy, only the Hydra is. And that's the more deadly one here. The good news is that these enemies are not allied with each other, so if it's possible, you can actually get the enemies to attack each other. I have seen like Hydras attacking different things like sand eels and stuff. It's quite good when that happens. I usually always take advantage of it. So one of the things that you want to be using against Hydras is, instead of just raw damage abilities, I like to put a lot of effects on it. So I'm using my Signet of Spite here because that puts agony on the enemy, and that also puts poison on the enemy and a little bit of bleed. The Signet of Spite, by the way, is for necromancers only. If you don't use the Signet on anything, then it gives you extra power, which basically makes your attacks stronger. Yeah, so as you can see here, finally it got stunned, but as you can see there, it only got stunned for a few moments because Hydras is just a pain in the ass to fight in general. And there you go, it's dead. Don't worry if you end up dying the first few times when you fight a Hydra. I wouldn't blame you if you did. They're honestly just infuriating. As for the Hydra head, you can either kill it in the end or just plain old ignore it. Yeah, and that would cover pretty much how to fight Hydras, except for the fact that there are two different types of Hydras. Well, three if you count the champion Hydra, but you're not really going to be able to kill that solo anyway unless you have a group with you, because as a champion, or maybe perhaps even legendary if enough players show up since it's a bounty. It also spawns in the Alone Riverlands, like I mentioned before, and you're not going to kill it on your own. Instead, I'm going to show you two separate types of Hydras that are also still veterans, so we'll be able to kill them kind of easily. The first one of these, I'm just going to name it Dipshit here, because it is so annoying and infuriating to fight. And the reason why is because this Hydra does not have any break bar to speak of. I know you may already be thinking, well, don't all Hydras not have break bars? This one's even worse. It doesn't even get any of its heads cut off, so there is no possible way to stun this. You just have to simply outlast this Hydra. So, you remember how just a moment ago I couldn't get the Hydra to spawn? I found out what the problem is. Unfortunately, this guide is going to be, or this guide kind of thing, is going to have the certain veteran Hydra where the heads don't come off. It's going to be left out of this, because of this very important note. So here I am on the wiki, on the page for the sulfuric sample. If you remember, the sulfuric sample was that pile of bone looking thing which I was kind of flying around for a little while, and I said, if I can't find this thing, I'll put a cut in. Which I did, and this is what the cut has gone to. So, the very important thing here, notes, spawns a Hydra. So, that means you have to interact with the sulfuric sample to spawn the Hydra. I can't interact with the sulfuric sample anymore, because I went and did this Jackal Reconnaissance collection ages ago. Actually, it wasn't that long ago, but the point is, I did it in the past. And Gw2 is an MMO, and it saves absolutely everything. So even though I really, really, really wish I could spawn this Hydra and fight it to show you, the viewers, what it's like to fight this piece of shit, I can't, because I literally can't interact with the sulfuric sample anymore. I might update this video later on, because I do have a second account, but I literally have to go get a Jackal, like the entire mount,
grind for 30 gold, pay the 30 gold fee, then, with the mount, go to this place here to get the sulfuric sample from the Acrid Springs, and then interact with the thingamajig to spawn a Hydra. Yes, you can only do it once. I'd literally have to play on my second account and do it again, which quite frankly is a huge effort and a bit of a pain in the ass. So hopefully you can understand why I'm not doing it right now in the video. I may add it later, I might not. I'm just kind of covering my ass in case I don't add it later. So yeah, I hope you understand my reasoning for why I'm not fighting one out of the many Hydras that are featured in this little guide. Anyway, back to the actual guide now. No longer need to hear me talking about this stuff.
And like I mentioned, there's going to be a shortcut before I found the last type of Hydra you can face. Actually, I think there is a fourth type that I'm also going to cover. An Ice Hydra, which is the type that that one boss that's in Lonely Riverlands, the bounty target that I keep mentioning. Yeah, that's the type of Hydra it is. So anyway, the next type, the third type, is the branded Hydra. As you can see here, I found one over here. If you're wondering where they are, well, this one is near the Prophet's Fall, which is where one of the story missions take place. It's like kind of a spiral downwards in a branded area. I'm not going to spoil exactly what it is, because you might have not completed that story mission. So, with branded Hydras, they function kind of similar to regular Hydras, where they get stunned 3 times as you chop off their heads. However, I want to show you their attack pattern because I actually find these easier to fight than regular old Hydras. And that is because their attacks seem kind of slow. So, one of the first things they'll do is that they'll like make branded stuff, like those branded stalactites or whatever, fall down from the sky. However, that's, for me anyway, easier to dodge than the regular old fireballs because, well... Oh dear, looks like okay, good. I was able to rally there. It's just, it was a bit hard to face this thing with so many other enemies around. They're getting really annoying. Yeah, so I guess that there's an excellent way of showing off kind of what they can do. It was once its attack hits you, you'd be like encased in Yes, I'm just kind of fighting it again. I guess this is a good kind of way to show off that well, not really show off, but show you that it is a really good idea to clear all the enemies in the area around it out, because otherwise they'll just continuously harass you over and over and over again. Yeah, so you can see there, that's one of the upsides I like about fighting these kind of Hydras, is that the breath there, the regular Hydra's breath will be able to knock you over and kind of stun lock you, whereas the branded Hydra just doesn't do that. So yeah, as you can see, I've already got it down to like almost no health. All it was needed was to kind of face it alone, not with any other enemies around. So, that's the branded Hydra covered. Now, to move on to the last Hydra. I don't even really need to put a cut in here because I can get there quite quickly. So, the Ice Hydra's right here. How I got here was kind of simple. I just went, and you can see the path I taken. So I was going here along the map. Started off from here, went down here, over here, and then ended up here. Oh, and they're already attacking me. Yeah, the Hydra down there is already attacking me. They are really, really, really feisty whenever you face them. They're constantly trying to attack you. Oh, lovely, in this place, I forgot, it's like got these cobalt eels in them as well.
Let's kick ass.
So the Ice Hydra, I'm pretty sure that it functions somewhat quite similar to the regular Hydra, the normal flame one. The only downside is that, as you can see there, the attacks it does on you will like apply the freeze effect, which slows you down. The regular Hydras do apply the burning effect, but in my opinion the freeze effect is worse because you want to be moving as fast as possible in order to dodge all of the Hydra's attacks. But other than that, it functions very similar to the regular old Hydra, and just, again, you just try and dodge all those attacks, whoop its ass real good to get rid of heads, and then you stun it, and that's pretty much it. However, once I've defeated this Hydra and I'm able to get back up on my mount, I want to show you one last thing, because just it's the name of this place, because this is actually where the boss is that I kept on talking about. So that one bounty boss, that one bounty you can take, the Champion Ice Hydra, it's got like some kind of weird name with an X in it. It actually spawns here.
Oh, lovely. I think these eels freeze you as well. Okay, so the Ice Hydra head, I don't really need to take care of that because their heads will generally just die off once you leave them alone. Like, they'll just flop around. They don't give you any loot either. Yeah, so this cave here is where the bounty boss is where the bounty spawns, and it's apparently called Dragoon Hearth. Yeah, so when facing it, usually be in a kind of large-ish group or party. Make sure you kill off any veteran Ice Hydras that try to attack you while you're fighting the boss, because yes, that can happen, and it's damn annoying, real annoying. So yeah, that pretty much covers it on this guide on how to kill Hydras. Oh yeah, one more thing. I'm not using ranged attacks here, but if you are a bit of a weaker class, like if you don't have as much health as a Necromancer, for instance, then ranged attacks are a really great idea to defeat the Hydra, especially if you're a ranger, because then you get a pet which can tank all the damage. Oh, and make sure to heal your pet, and perhaps use the Signet of Stone, which is a signet rangers have, which makes the pet and you go invincible for a little while, so you can just ignore some of the Hydra's hits if it's really battering around your pet, because pets, they only have basic AI, and they don't really dodge. So yeah, that pretty much covers it. Thanks for watching this guide. I hope you know how to deal better with Hydras now.